Uncharted 4: A Thief's End is the end of an era. Uncharted's humble beginning in 2007 is such a far cry from the medium-wide titan it has become in the present day, both representing PlayStation as a brand and action gaming as a whole. But all good things must come to an end. Uncharted 4: A Thief's End is developer Naughty Dog's send-off to the series they lovingly created, but also, as the title implies, Nathan Drake's goodbye as well. So does this thief get the end he deserves? Let's find out here in this review of Uncharted 4: A Thief's End.
Big boat! Big boat! God damn it, they're dropping mines! I see them! Keep heading towards the island! Don't let them get in front of you!
Uncharted 4 plays differently than past installments. Cover-based shooting, climbing, and light stealth are still at the core, but each has been streamlined, opened up, and dramatically improved. Stealth plays a bigger role now since marking enemies and tall grass opens up the sneaking possibilities and makes it slightly more involving than running up behind guys and snapping their necks. Shooting is usually the more obvious answer to situations and has seen the most improvements. Despite his age, Nate is more agile than he ever was, mantling over cover and getting around much quicker than he could in previous games. Better, faster getaway options make escaping danger easier and thus less frustrating. This goes hand in hand with the enemies no longer being non-reactive, bullet sponge, hyper-accurate robots that show no signs of mercy or humanity. No more never-ending waves, off-screen grenade launcher deaths, or dying a dozen times in one area. Uncharted 4, for the first time outside of Golden Abyss, no longer has huge difficulty spikes that stain the pacing. The actual feel of firing is much smoother too, making it a game with great shooting and the thoughtful encounters that let gunplay live up to its potential. The grappling hook also plays a fundamental role in how skirmishes unfold. The vast open combat arenas are littered with designated points to latch onto and swing around. Grappling opens up offensive and defensive strategies, allowing you to both quickly escape danger and gain a higher vantage point. Gunplay is less stop and pop and more swing and shoot, which is much more thematically appropriate given the franchise's action-heavy, blockbuster nature. The grappling hook is also integral to exploring and solving puzzles. While platforming essentially boils down to following the critical path, the piton, sliding mechanic, and hook make traversal more involving than just pushing the stick towards the brightest colored ledge. Sleek, responsive movement controls work in tandem with Nate's new gear and results in the most fluid climbing in the series. Puzzles depend on similar mechanics but require more brain power that often utilize the same tools needed for platforming. It takes the necessary clues from Uncharted 3 and gives brain teasers that reward critical thinking over constantly nagging at the pages in Nate's notebook. But Uncharted 4 brings something new to the franchise in addition to the puzzles, gunplay, and platforming, moments of solace. While the openness was very obviously inspired by The Last of Us, the environmental storytelling is much less subtle with its mimicry. Uncharted 4's narrative gets filled out in empty spaces where more context is given through collectibles and context-sensitive dialogue. Whereas The Last of Us was about piecing together how civilization fared in its final moments, Uncharted 4 takes those same cues and applies them to unveiling the treasure mystery that the plot revolves around. Execution like this incentivizes natural exploration since every collectible and piece of disheveled furniture organically feeds the urge to learn more. Past Uncharted games haven't required a storytelling approach like this, mainly because no other Uncharted story is quite like this one. Nathan Drake's normal, routine lifestyle gets interrupted by his allegedly dead brother who serves up a good enough reason to pull Nate back into the treasure hunter life he swore off. Uncharted 4 marks the first time in the series where the actual plotline keeps up with its fantastic cast. The overarching enigma unravels more in each chapter, continually adding wrinkles as time passes and subsequently becoming harder and harder to put down. Its willingness to buck its signature tropes and explore a deeper narrative more geared towards interactivity make it a fresh story that takes full advantage of the fact that it is a video game. And it does this with such admirable confidence, as showcased by the more deliberate pacing that dishes out more intimate moments that appropriately contrast the high-octane action. These intimate moments almost single-handedly define Uncharted 4's stellar character development. Banter between the cast remains as clever and entertaining as ever, but Uncharted 4 adds a broader range of emotions that are rare to the medium as a whole. The quality script and seamless transition between gameplay and cutscenes cannot be downplayed, but the unmatched character animation is the most impressive since it shows visual changes in emotion and is an understated way the game conveys its mood. Uncharted 4 not only delivers a marvelous, well-paced, well-acted narrative, it significantly raises the bar for the medium as a whole and is the new gold standard for storytelling in video games. Uncharted 4's dedication to quieter moments hasn't come at the detriment to the set pieces. If anything, they've gotten even more explosive. Sliding and grappling expand the available options during these sequences and enhance the perfect symbiosis of cinematic finesse and playability the series has been renowned for. Through interactivity and pure spectacle, Uncharted 4 sets the new benchmark for set pieces in the same way Uncharted 2 did back in 2009. Stunning visuals are a key part of Uncharted's set-piece formula. The sweeping, gorgeous vistas glow through their tropical color palettes and floral density, while the up-close moments shine as the ludicrous attention to detail comes to light. Speaking of light, all of this is possible through the lighting that bathes the environments and characters and sets up photography-ready scenery in every locale. Water and mud effects are the subtle foil to the explosion and destruction effects and show the range of artistic craftsmanship put into every visual element. The amount of detail, both big and small, makes no praise enough praise for Uncharted 4's console-defining technical chops. The multiplayer is worth praise as well. The verticality of the maps encourages grappling and climbing and gives it its own Uncharted flair, but its willingness to steal the best aspects from The Last of Us's online component gives it its necessary staying power. Total loadout customization is a great way to empower players to create kits that cater to their own unique playstyle, even if unlocking some of those abilities and guns can take a ton of time. Like The Last of Us, the in-game store allows matches to grow as they progress and gives more immediate value to revives and kills. Uncharted 4's online multiplayer provides the satisfactory moment-to-moment gunplay along with the necessary customization and unlocks to grab and keep your attention. Naughty Dog has even laid out an extensive year-long roadmap of free content and almost ensures this game will retain the steady, healthy community it deserves. Uncharted 4: A Thief's End isn't without its flaws. It relies a little too heavily on boosting people up to find boxes or ladders, the final encounter is a smidge clumsy, and the last act is about 15 minutes too long. But those three minor missteps are so petty within the grand scope of everything Uncharted does better than almost any other video game. The set pieces and retooled shooting and climbing make Uncharted 4 a blast to control, both online and off, but its dedication to its quality narrative is the biggest takeaway. There are a million ways to mess up the finale to a coveted franchise, but instead Naughty Dog has crafted one of the most memorable send-offs for a series, along with making one of the greatest games of all time. Uncharted 4: A Thief's End gets a 10 out of 10. As always, thanks for watching and see you next time.
On your right! Watch it, watch it! Oh shit!